movies you might not know. From the biggest flops to the greatest hits, this is Trash Can Tidbits.
Hey there, everyone. This is Trash Can Tidbits, and I'm your host, Beaton. Welcome back to some more fun weekly random trivia. Last week, I asked the question, true or false? No Time to Die will also be released 6 years after the previous film, Spectre. The answer is true. No Time to Die was supposed to come out in November of 2020, but again, due to COVID, it reluctantly got delayed again to November of 2021. This will be the second time a film in the James Bond franchise will have been released 6 years after the previous installment. It should be noted too that although Roger Moore and Sean Connery both starred in the same number of films as Bond, Daniel Craig will have been Bond for a whopping total of 15 years, and he's only made 5 films this whole time. Now, with that addressed, let's get started with fact number 1. Did you know that 2 things about Thor have recently come to light in the wake of the success of Loki on Disney+? One is that Tom Hiddleston tested for the role of Thor. Honestly, I don't see it. Unfortunately, Marvel didn't either. The second is that the 2 frontrunners for the role of Thor were not just Chris Hemsworth, but also his brother, Liam Hemsworth. In a story that involves sibling rivalry, you couldn't get more meta than that. Don't worry though, Liam got to be in the Hunger Games trilogy instead, and is also making good tracks at being an action star in his own right. Fact 2. Did you know that The Jungle Book had a totally different treatment before the eventual movie we have today? The original draft of the film was more based on Rudyard Kipling's original story, darker and more exotic in tone, written by longtime Disney story artist Bill Peet. Peet started out as a storyboard artist on Dumbo and worked his way up through almost every Disney film, including his crowning achievement, 101 Dalmatians. Walt Disney, however, in the wake of the lukewarm response to The Sword and the Stone, didn't like Peet's treatment and insisted the film be more fun. Peet disagreed with this and left the studio, and also never spoke with Walt again. The studio started over, with Walt going so far as to tell the animators to not even bother reading Kipling's original book. Only one song from that original draft stayed in the film though, and it's a good thing it did: The Bare Necessities. As for Bill Peet, though he never did reconcile with Walt as he died during the film's production, he did, however, have nothing but nice things to say about him in his autobiography. Fact 3. Sticking with Disney, did you know that one of their longtime voice actors started her career there as an elephant and also finished her career as an elephant? Verna Felton, known among Disney fans as such memorable characters as the fairy godmother in Cinderella and Flora the good fairy in Sleeping Beauty, played the stuffy elephant matriarch in Dumbo. Her final role for the studio was the elephant Winifred, the mate of Colonel Hathi. She died on December 14, 1966, at the age of 76, only one day before Walt Disney's death. It should be noted too that Felton also had one line as Dumbo's mother, Mrs. Jumbo, in the scene where she gives her baby's intended name to the stork and the other elephants as Jumbo Jr. Fact 4. Did you know that I actually have a personal story relating to Cyborg in Justice League? Storytime. I live in a part of New Jersey that has an equal balance of country and urban living. Back in 2014, the well-regarded Shakespeare Theater of New Jersey at Drew University in Madison was premiering a new play, Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. My parents and I went to see it 3 times, and it was fantastic. What I didn't realize at the time was that the actor who was playing Tom Robinson, the black man that Atticus Finch was defending in court, was being played by a local actor named Ray Fisher. Well, little did we know that a few years later, Fisher would be cast to play Victor Stone, aka Cyborg, in the DC Extended Universe, and would utilize his full potential as the character in Zack Snyder's Justice League. This is something I've always believed. You never know where the next big star is going to come from. For all you know, they could be living right next door to you. Fact 5. Did you know that the character of Duke Weaselton from Zootopia is not only an obvious reference to the Duke of Weselton from Disney's Frozen, but they're also voiced by the same actor? Both Dukes are played by Alan Tudyk, who has had a role in every Disney film since 2012's Wreck-It Ralph, where he played the main villain, King Candy. Frozen had a running gag of characters mispronouncing the province where the Duke is from, calling it either Weaselton or Weaseltown. Duke Weaselton in Zootopia continues the reference, with Judy Hopps calling him Weselton instead of Weaselton, and Duke immediately corrects her. Some of Tudyk's other roles at Disney include Hey Hey the Chicken in Moana, K2SO in Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, Knowsmore in Ralph Breaks the Internet, and Iago in the live-action remake of Aladdin. Fact 6. Did you know that the video game The Witcher 2 contains a hilarious but somewhat scary anti-piracy measure, courtesy of the developers at CD Projekt Red themselves? One thing the player can do as the game's hero, Geralt of Rivia, is distract yourself with, well, making love to various women. If you attempt to play any hacked or pirated version of the game, all of the women that Geralt can sleep with are turned into hideous elderly women, complete with not-so-sexy cutscenes that are visually telling the player, "This is what you did, now suffer." Buy the game normally, people. That's all I have to say. Fact 7. Did you know that Dan Aykroyd makes an uncredited cameo appearance in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? After the opening car chase sequence where Indy and his companions are fleeing from Chinese gangsters to the Shanghai airport, they are greeted by a British character named Weber. The entire dialogue exchange between them is done in long shots, so you can't get a good look at Weber's face, but the voice is unmistakable, as it's Aykroyd doing an over-the-top British accent. It's most likely he cameoed due to director Steven Spielberg making a cameo in The Blues Brothers, which starred the former Saturday Night Live legend. Fact 8. Did you know that among the cut scenes from the animated movie Rock-a-Doodle, one still does have some shades of its original content if you look closely? There's a short scene where the Grand Duke of Owls takes a pie out of an oven, and it's since been revealed in behind-the-scenes info that what's inside that pie is a live baby skunk that is still very much alive. Oddly enough, it wasn't removed because of the baby skunk, but because Don Bluth received notes from the preview audience that since the scene takes place in a kitchen, there were reports that most cases of child abuse take place in the kitchen. Though the shots of the baby skunk were taken out, if you look very closely at the pie in some shots, it's still moving, indicating that the skunk is still in there. Fact 9. Did you know that Captain Quint from Jaws was going to have a different introduction scene than the one in the final movie? The original script was written so that Quint would be seen in a movie theater on Amity Island watching the movie Moby Dick, laughing loudly at the special effects and the whale itself, which would cause the rest of the audience to get up and leave. The only reason this scene was never filmed was because of Gregory Peck, the star of Moby Dick, who refused permission not because of the content within the scene in Jaws, but because he hated his performance in that movie and he never wanted it to be seen again. Peck maintained partial ownership of the Moby Dick movie, and it indeed wouldn't be seen again until its release on home video in the 1980s. Fact 10. Did you know that Toy Story 2 was originally going to be direct-to-video? It was already decided that the original movie was going to get a sequel, but due to the success at the time of several Disney direct-to-video sequels, the original thinking was that it would not be up to Pixar's standards. The animation team proved the higher-ups wrong, and not only would Toy Story 2 be released in theaters, the TV animation team would also develop an animated series to go along with it, which would eventually be Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. The original release date for Toy Story 2, though, would not change, even when it moved from direct-to-video to theatrical release, so everyone had a lot to do in so little time. Some behind-the-scenes info reveals that the film was almost lost due to a technical mistake that wiped out the hard drive. Fortunately, a female animator who recently had a baby had the foresight to take a copy of the hard drive home with her so she could work from home, sparing the film from being lost forever. Thank goodness. It was all worth it in the end. And here's this week's trivia question. There's a term in TV today called jumping the shark, where a show's quality has deteriorated so much that writers put in ridiculous things to try to boost ratings or hit situations that are played out of character. You may be surprised to learn that the term actually does refer to jumping over a shark, as one such classic sitcom did for one of its most beloved characters. My question to you is, which classic sitcom originated the term jumping the shark? And there we go for this week. Stay tuned for more fun trivia and other side projects. And as always, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and boop that bell to be notified for future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.